Hey, booze, hey. Do your blankets feel like super glue in the morning? Well, sis, it's time to shake them off. Welcome to Wake Up Happy Sis, the show that jumpstarts your day with a bang. We're strolling down these self-care streets as we navigate the maze of wellness and healing. We're helping you live happy, healed, and whole. And we do it all with a hearty dose of belly laughs for good measure. Stay tuned and get ready to wake up happy, sis. Hey, booze. Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Leanne Dulce, your Chief Self-Love Officer over here, Wake Up Happy Sis, in the Wake Up Happy Sis show. And, you know, when I think about the day, what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be talking about heartbreak. Because if you know, like I know, heartbreak is a beast. Baby, it can knock you down, have you questioning everything about yourself, and leave you feeling like you are never going to bounce back. But let me tell you something. Heartbreak doesn't have to break you. And it's not going to break you on the Wake Up Happy Sis and Leanne's watch. Not today, and hopefully never again. Today, we're going to dive into real, raw, and necessary conversations about healing, right? How do you pick up the pieces after everything has fallen apart? How do you move forward when the pain feels unbearable? And most importantly, how do you love yourself harder than you have ever loved that other person? And you already know I'm not doing this alone. Sharonda should be in a moment. Y'all know she pops in after working out in the morning. But we also have Dr. Akua Feathers, an empowerment speaker and a life strategist who helps Black women reclaim their authenticity and well-being. So welcome, Dr. Akua. How are you today? Welcome back.
There it go. Okay, I heard you pause, and I was like, "It's the welcome back." Yeah,
Welcome back because you've been here before.
I did come
Yes.
before.
And we are so happy that you are back with us today and especially helping us talk about this topic because this is one of my favorite topics to talk about healing, all things loving of ourselves and learning how to move forward when others leave us feeling hurt. Um, I do feel like we do have the ability to lessen that amount of hurt that we're kind of seeing, feeling, you know, when we're going through it.
Yeah.
So that every time, because heartbreak is going to happen, people. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. It's not something that you can control. People are going to leave your life at some point. Oh, don't do that. Shoot loud. But it doesn't have to break you. And so that's what we're talking about today. But today, for any new listeners who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yes. As you mentioned, I am Dr. Akua, and I am the Black Woman's Wellbeing Coach. And my entire existence, my entire purpose is to create products, create services that helps Black women heal themselves. And so
Yes.
that's what I do.
Yes. And I love that because that's what we do over here on the Wake Up Happy Sis show, too. And I love being able to collaborate with, discuss with others in this Black women's wellness field because we need some help. We need
Yeah.
some healing. And I feel like sometimes, either by choice or by force, we get left with so much hurt and pain and anger and trauma. And nobody's going to come save you. This is my philosophy. Nobody can save you. You have to, one of my friends said, how are you going to participate in your own healing and in your own saving?
Yeah. I like that wording, and I just want to add one little nuance to what you said. The reason that we as Black women need help is not because we're incapable. The
Right.
reason that we need help is because we have been conditioned to focus that way. We have not learned, we have not been socialized to look at ourselves, this is a mirror, and say, what you need, sis, what you need. That's not what, so we don't need help because we can't do it. It's clear
Right.
that we can do it because we do it for everybody else.
You better say that. And we're used to doing it. And yes, we are definitely conditioned to give of ourselves to the point where we have nothing left for us. That's
Mm,
called being selfless. You're selfless. I ain't trying to be selfless
How
anymore.
about that?
I'm trying to be self full.
That part.
Self full. I'm trying to save me because I know that everybody relies on me. So
Yes, ma'am.
if I know that everybody relies on me, one, I got to take care of myself because I know what I got to take care of. But two, I don't want us to get into the habit of thinking that my worth is tied to my service. So you know what I mean? So yes,
Yeah.
everybody relies on me, so I gotta do this. You still doing that for them. I need you to do it because you are Sharonda, you are Dr. Akua, you are Leanne, and that in and of itself means you are worthy of happiness. You are worthy of joy.
Yes.
You are worthy of freedom and fulfillment and all the things without having to worry about, I got kids, I got a husband, I got a community, I got a business, I got clients, I got, the list goes on.
And
Am I
on.
nuts?
And not only does the list go on and on, but we know the script. So many of the Black women that I talk to, whether it's through coaching, through training, or just in casual conversation, it's almost like there's literally a script, because it's like, well, if I don't do it, it won't get done. I got to do it because I'm the mama. I got to do it. And they be having grown, almost, grown people in the house with them. They be having
Mhm.
kids who are old enough to be able to, the
why
babies
you
can,
talk about
can
my life
sort the
like that,
clothes.
Dr. Cool? Why? 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 I'm
Be-
still waiting for an answer, ma'am. Because I know you only talking about me right now. You couldn't possibly be talking about nobody else, ma'am. And good morning, ladies. I'm just saying.
You
and
jumped in
also, good
spicy.
morning.
You jumped in spicy this morning. That's how we do around here.
you know and it's almost, it's not really tough love, it's just honesty. It's just keeping it real, because sometimes we need to be shaken just a little bit, not a whole lot, just a little bit, because we know the things to say to justify why we show up for other people. And the minute somebody comes in and say, yeah, but what about you? Oh, I'm gonna be fine. Oh, I go to the nail salon every Saturday. Oh, okay. So 6 days of the week, I wish I could do the math real quick and do what 24 hours times 7 is. Whatever that answer is, you take 4 of those and you go to the nail salon every week, and you think that's sufficient for yourself? You
Hmm.
take care of people better
Yeah.
than that, but you take better care of other people
Yes.
than that.
Yes. And good morning, Eileen. Good morning. Good morning. And what people don't get is when we feel, because we tend to feel guilty about taking that time for someone else. I mean, for ourselves.
Worse. Mhm.
Because I've got all of these somebody else's that I'm responsible for. Your grown kids, your teenagers can cook for themselves.
Yes, they can.
They can cook breakfast for themselves. They'll be all right.
They will.
By the time my daughter went to a culinary high school. So by the time she was 16, she was cooking dinners.
Absolutely.
And there are certain dishes my daughter can cook better than me now.
Some
Okay.
of these.
Go
So,
ahead on, Michael.
right, right. So, and I'm like, that's how we teach our children. Your children, just think about when your kids were babies and you said shit in front of them. Now, everywhere they go, little 2-year-old, little 2-year-old,
Oh, fucking damn it.
right, that little girl, okay?
Oh,
That little
fucking
girl.
damn it.
Because you
As the
said it,
context of it all, too.
yes, and in the right context. In the right
Inflections and everything. Yeah.
Yes.
They learn by seeing. So when we're not taking care of us, what are we also teaching our children? That you're supposed to put yourself last on the list. You're teaching people how to not love you, how
Yeah,
to not respect you.
yeah.
You're not teaching them that you deserve time off too, that you are nobody's slave. There's no slave labor here.
And then we double down because don't let your daughter or your niece or someone younger than you have learned how to take care of themselves. We double down. Oh, must be nice. I mean, I had 4 kids when and I never did. Okay. I mean, everybody ain't able. We double down. We don't teach you how to take care of yourself, and then when you grow up and you learn on your own, then we get to insulting you, and yeah, you didn't
Oh,
change.
girl, I have boundaries to combat that. Oh, what you're not gonna do is, because we all have choices,
That's
right?
right.
Because okay, so based off of what you just said, Doctor, I am the one that discovered the boundaries of discovering that I don't want to perpetuate this doggone generational curse
Yeah.
mess anymore. And on the other side of that, I have family members holding on for dear life to that very same
Absolutely.
generational curse.
That's
Mhm.
right.
And instead of asking me how I got over, they say what you said. Oh well, must be nice. You only had one kid. I had three.
That's how
Ma'am,
they
I'm
go.
gonna need you to get all the way outside of your head and into your bag before you come talk to me about mess. Okay?
Yeah. So I'm gonna say this. A part of the reason why that exists is because anytime a black woman, this is why, our black womanists and historians, this is why um, they say that rest is resistance and that a woman taking care of herself, self-care is resistance, because we are literally pushing against centuries. I'm not talking about, oh,
What?
we just started this,
Right, not
No,
decades,
no,
not
no.
we
I just
decades,
lost
not
my
decades.
feelings.
This is
centuries.
centuries of societal beliefs about Black women,
Hmm.
so much so that it's been internalized. And so, whenever we experience hurt, we experience overwhelm, we experience woe down, whatever it is we're experiencing, we've learned keep going, never let them see you sweat, keep it pushing, don't give up. We learn that. And when somebody dares to set a boundary, to take a break, to implement regular practices of self-care in their life, it's almost like you talking about my mama. Do you understand what I mean by that? Like you are really you coming for my jugular. And there's this thing inside. If I'm watching you and you're the one with the boundaries, I don't know what to do with that. Because I had to struggle. I've literally had people tell me I had to struggle to learn this. So why would I tell you?
That's the dumbest, most profound thing I ever heard. In my army days, my sergeant told me, well, nobody ever helped me, so
What?
I didn't hurt you, sir.
That part.
That's the part, though. That's the part. Hurt people
Hurt
hurt
people.
people. And until you become the one that stops that cycle and sets that boundary, I mean, that's a perfect segue into what we're actually talking about today, which is heartbreak, right? And how do we heal and move forward after it feels like everything in our life is crumbled, right?
Okay.
Because when that person has been hurt and they only know how to speak that language of hurt, that's all they can give. They're giving you all that they have.
Even
And when you decide that this is not enough, this is not healthy for me, I want to choose better for my life. And now that I know better, I must do better. You are now challenging the very core of their existence because
mm-hmm.
that was what they mama and they mama and they mama did. And if it's good enough for us, it's good enough for you. No,
No, it's not.
no,
I
it's
am not them. And what you won't do
Come on.
is continue doing what you're doing without being checked. See, the 50-year-old Sharonda is not the same one without boundaries. The one now looking before you has boundaries, and I refuse. I will let you sit in your own pity party before I don't even go to my own damn pity parties. What I look like going to yours to entertaining your ass when It's just a mindset shift.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that
Yeah,
is
but you
free.
know,
You can do it at any
right.
time.
But the point is, if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it,
Yeah.
right? The problem is that it's not easy because you're fighting against not just this person's 50 years on the planet. You're fighting 300, 400 other problems
Yeah.
on top of that. You know what I mean? We are
Mm.
trained up. Let's say train them up in the way to go. They're training us in the wrong ways because that's all they know.
Oh my God,
When,
that part.
when all
Oh
you
my
know is
God.
pain and all you know is hurt, that's what you tend to teach unless you're that person that's like, I'm going to stop that cycle and I'm not
Yeah.
going to treat my kids that way. But it all stems from, on some level, there's a heartbreak
Yeah.
there, because heartbreak isn't just about romantic relationships. When we say heartbreak, so don't just think it's a love relationship between a man and woman, woman, woman. No, it might be mother to child,
Yes.
sister to sister, right?
Anybody you're dealing with outside of yourself.
And
Yeah.
it's a trauma. It's not just an emotion. We have to realize that heartbreak is trauma and emotion together, side by side, right?
And
And in addition to all that you're saying, like that trauma, if I'm the one that's doing the teaching of the trauma or living it out, it's I'm not really realizing it. It's because we've been taught to suppress and tuck it away. Then I can tell myself any story and believe that I'm okay. So I don't realize that when I talk to you and be like, go pick that up, I don't realize that I'm snapping at you. I just realize, you know what, my mama talked to me this way, my auntie talked to, my grandmama talked to them that way. I'm not taking the time to question whether the way I'm talking to you is okay. I'm not taking the time to question whether the way that I'm treating you
it's the
is okay.
delivery.
This
That's
is what
right.
happened to me. Just like we said, those people was like, nobody helped me, and all that same mindset is alive there. They did it to me, and
Mhm.
nothing's wrong with me. Or no, what do they say? I turned out okay,
I turned out
Oh,
just fine.
but you're not okay though.
but you're
You're
not.
totally not okay though.
But there's nothing. Think about it. The minute somebody said, especially people that looks like us, if we say something negative against our parents, especially our mama, how many people will come for us? That's your mama. That's your daddy. You're not supposed to say it. But how come two things can't be true? Yes,
Mm-hmm.
that's my parent, that's my aunt, that's my whomever, and they
Mhm.
hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's this whole dialogue around that we
Well,
are
wait a
not
minute.
having.
Also, when they hurt you, why are they mad when you decide to rescind your access that they have to you, and you don't want to play these dumbass games anymore? And so, because it takes two people to argue, and I refuse to because it's perpetuating the
Yeah.
same mess. I'm trying that I woke up one day and was like, yeah,
Yeah, I'm done with that. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
off that.
I'm done with it. Yeah,
Well, but they get mad because they have an entitlement to you and your feelings. That's the
they
problem.
used to.
When people, no, they still feel entitled.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
that part.
still feel entitled. They may not have the access to you
Right.
because you now have put up the boundaries, but they still feel entitled, and that's where their anger comes from, because you're not supposed to go against what I just said. I don't
Right.
care if I'm disrespectful. I don't care if I'm hurting you. I'm your mom, and you're supposed to just do what I say because I'm your mom,
Yeah.
right? No,
Yeah.
that's not how it goes. And then on top of that, you've got society glorifying this strong Black woman suffering syndrome as if healing is a sign of weakness, as if healing is a problem, as if
Get this
we're
child a
not
fan. Look at her.
quality once we heal. Think about that, right? Society tells us that that strong Black woman suffering is who we are
Right.
because y'all are just strong. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, and suffering is who we are, or because we're strong, them little things ain't supposed to bother us. Because we're supposed to be strong, something like the way I talk to you, something like the way I treat you, mistreat you, That's not supposed to, like, it's worse things happening in this world than the way I'm talking to you. And you're gonna sit up here and try to tell me that I'm hurting your feelings.
Yeah.
You are. You are.
Yeah.
And because those beliefs don't exist historically, we don't really have, let me say it this way. We are learning it, but we haven't had access to the dialogue to be able to say that and to respond to it when it's said to us. And
Yeah.
that's why people come back with that aggression to the person who's setting the boundaries.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
well, and they also, because we're
And they
expected to
make you the
bounce back.
villain.
Well, I mean,
You gotta be the villain.
because
You gonna be the clown in my story,
but that
okay?
entitlement, I mean, you're the villain in somebody's story, and everybody gonna be mad at you at some point, and you're gonna be the villain. Stop being friends with somebody. You're automatically the villain, even if they were the one that did wrong. Now,
Oh,
y'all know I
absolutely.
watch my country Wayne. Well, Dr. Cool don't, but I watched the little Country Wayne series on
Hmm.
TikTok. You can find it on YouTube too if you was like some of the people who went and took TikTok off their phone, or you upgraded to a new phone and you can't get it no more. You can also watch it on um, YouTube.
Hmm.
But there's three people, husband and wife, and then the wife's best friend. The best friend sleeping with the husband.
Oh, why did I know you
Been
were going
sleeping with the husband, then got pregnant and had a baby by the husband. They get caught. Finally, they get caught, and now the ex best friend wants to act like the hurt party and the victim,
I see.
right? And why, and the wife who's now heartbroken, which is why I brought this up, who is now heartbroken and acting out of that pain because there are stages to it. And one of the first ones, I don't remember all the stages, but one of the first ones is anger.
Yeah.
In that healing process, you will get to that anger stage. First, you're broken. First, you are broken. You can't get up. You can't do anything. You feel like life is over. At some point, you get angry. And a lot of people act out on that aggression. But then the person whose fault it is always wants to now try to make you the victim in themselves. I mean, makes you the villain and themselves the victim,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Starting shit and then crying victim beware of those type of
Yeah. Because again, as that strong black woman, you were supposed to bounce back from that. You supposed to be on to the next man. You ain't supposed to be crying. You supposed to keep moving, keep grinding, and never what'd you say, Dr. Cool? Never let them see you sweat.
Never
You
let
It
them see you
wasn't
sweat.
supposed to phase you that the man that you married, the love of your life, the person you were giving all of your time and your heart to, has been cheating on you for almost the whole time you was married.
And don't forget the part where they blame you for the fact that he was cheating. Well, what wasn't you doing? You must not have been doing something that he needed. What your man needed something for, like, and I visualize it that when it comes to black women, misogynoir is blocking us in. No matter where you turn, if you try to use, as Audre Lorde said, the master's tools to dismantle this system, you're gonna hit a wall at every turn. Because no matter where you turn, unless you turn to some of the process I know we'll get to in a minute, unless you turn into self and into community, you're going to find a reason to blame yourself at every single turn,
Yes.
which is why they try to villainize us, even when we're the ones who were done wrong.
Oh yeah. But then think about it this way. Sometimes we taken on the villain role ourselves, right? Sometimes we willingly take that role on, the
Yeah.
villain, the fixer, right? We've been conditioned to fix everything. We're even expected, or we feel obligated to fix the people who broke us.
Ooh,
Now, let me say that again. We feel obligated sometimes to even fix the people who broke us,
my goodness.
right? Think about it.
And won't we have a cute little saying to back us up? Well, I got to love. I got to forgive.
Jesus says, Jesus ain't said, he also said something about being smoked with emeralds, which I feel like is hemorrhoids or back in the day. But
What did you just say? What did you just say?
with
What did
emeralds,
you just say, ma'am? Oh.
there's a passage in the Bible somewhere
I
where
can't deal. I
where
can't
the
deal.
Lord will smite thee with emeralds. With to me just sounds like hemorrhoids. I'm sorry.
I might need you to show me that because I can't.
That's what it. That's
Some of
what
the cover
it
several times.
means.
Don't remember that part.
Look, don't make me do it. Don't
I
make
don't have to, ma'am. I have to insist. Okay, I need you to show me where that is.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. And they didn't have preparation age back then.
they
Well,
did.
So sorry.
no, no. Mm-mm-mm. Hemorrhoids.
Deuteronomy
Oh my God.
28:27. This is the King
Wow.
James Version. The
Okay.
Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods, and with the scab, and with the itch, whereof thou canst not be healed. Emerods, hemorrhoids, itchy, scaly booty cheeks.
I can see. I can kind of see how you got there.
You
But
see,
it was still magical. It was
you
magic for me,
see,
ma'am.
look, when I tell you
Oh
guys,
my goodness.
see, y'all,
You
what
had to
y'all
be
don't
getting a
know
whole
about
hot
me,
flash laughing at your ass
this
right
is the
now.
thing what you guys do not know about me. I may not know the books of the Bible inside and out and all that, but I
Oh,
know what I know. I am an ordained minister. I do know a little something. I may not know where it is, but I know it's there. Okay. Okay, I know it's there.
okay.
Don't be like, don't be challenging me because I hold up. Give me half a second.
Right. Google is your friend.
Hold on, my baby.
Huh?
I love it.
Okay,
I
that was a
love
good little
it.
laugh break, right?
Yeah.
But I want to go back to the concept of us feeling like we need to fix everybody, fix things for everybody. That's a trauma response too, boo.
Mm.
That's a trauma response too. And it might be different responses. Everybody's response is personal, how they respond to trauma, right? It might be that you were taught that your life really didn't have a lot of value, and therefore you had to constantly be there for everybody else, right?
Right.
That might be the lesson that you learned through your experiences coming up, right? It might be that you have, what do they call it, like the God complex, where you really do feel like you are there to save everybody. You
Mm.
can't save everybody if you ain't even saving yourself. How
Hmm.
you gonna save somebody else?
And there's levels to it. So
Yes.
it's the things that you're mentioning. It could also be this sense of control because I'm feeling hurt, but I don't know how to verbalize that. And so I stay busy. And in that busyness, it just so happens that I'm helping somebody else. I'm supporting the one that hurt me. I'm trying to fix the one that hurt me. And it could also go to that thing that we everybody's learned about by now is that autonomic response that our bodies do when we sense danger or hurt is that fight, flight, freeze and fawn. The fawn is the part where I'm making myself available. I'm basically the doormat, but essentially those doormat tendencies result in me supporting the person who's doing the harm.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
full-fledged heartbroken, full-fledged in pain, but I'm going to find some sort of justification that'll keep me around this individual for either of the reasons that we've named and probably a whole ton more
Probably a
that
whole
we
lot more.
haven't,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yes. Because we somewhere in one of our little lock boxes of trauma that we got in our little spirit. That's what I feel like. We just I'm gonna take this trauma, I'm gonna lock it right here. I got another one right here. I got another one right here. I got another one. They all over. right? And I'm gonna just lock it up and throw away the key. And like you said, now I can tell myself anything, and I'm not affected by that anymore.
But you also have to stop helping the abuser hurt you too. You have an
Well,
obligation
but
to
think about
yourself.
it. Think about it. What do they call it? The Stockholm syndrome,
Well, yeah, that part.
where a person, let's say, gets kidnapped, and at some point, the kidnapped person becomes endeared to their captor,
Mm,
right? So
mm-hmm,
sometimes you feel like you've got to keep one. You could be feeling like, oh, I just need to keep them around because it's your pain that you're dealing with, right? It's your pain that you have not dealt with, and
Yes.
you cannot, you honestly feel like you're going to die if you walk away from that person. So you pour your whole everything into it. Then, if you're of a certain age, you were taught that you're supposed to stay with the person, right? Think about Big Mama
You're
and
right.
them, where
You're right.
daddy was a rolling
hmm.
stone.
Mm.
Got
Absolutely.
multiple families all over the place in the same city. You going to school with your brothers and sisters, not
Mm,
knowing,
mm, mm.
right? Things like that. But we were conditioned. Again, this is hundreds of years behind it.
Yeah.
That if you get a good black man, you need to do whatever it is to keep him, even if that means being his foundation, his rock, his doormat.
His
Mm.
doormat. And can I tell my testimony?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's what
Uh,
we do here.
but,
The doors
but
of the church are open. Mm-hmm.
come on down, sister.
That's
Um,
it.
Come on.
First, before I tell it, I will say that the history of women sticking with their husbands had more to do with finances and the fact that women weren't allowed to set up lives for themselves outside of a man, so they had to get
Mhm.
married. But that's another story. For me, it kind of goes along, Leanne, with something that you were just saying. I was in a relationship where the person grew up in the most painful, like I would just, it hurts to even think about the stuff that they lived through. They then became an adult and began perpetuating that same type of abuse, but it looked different.
Mm.
While we were in relationship together, what I was subjected to was a lot of verbal abuse, emotional abuse, and a lot of I don't know what to call it, but maybe it's emotional abandonment. What
Mhm.
played in my head, knowing that it was not a good place, knowing that it was something that I needed to get away from, I was like, yeah, but if I do, where are they gonna go? Because they didn't have nowhere to live
Yes.
outside of the house that they were in with me. What are they gonna do if I can't put them out? And this is
Mhm.
just a rough time. Once things get
Oh,
settled, everything will. And I'm playing this narrative in my mind against what's like blaring loud on the speaker on the inside of me.
Yes.
So your point, I forget exactly how you worded it, but your point was valid. It was something in me that hadn't been addressed, that hadn't been healed, that hadn't been confronted, that I
Yeah.
hadn't admitted to. It wasn't like some people like to just say, "Oh, you didn't have no self-confidence." Maybe, but it had more to do with the lens that I had about what I was
Yes.
um entitled to. That's not the word I want, but the other one ain't coming. What I deserve. I don't deserve a relationship like this. But something wasn't happening in here and in here for me to be like, you know what? And so I leave because I don't deserve, I deserve better
Yeah.
than I leave. That part didn't click. And
Because
so I
we're
played that
not
narrative.
leaving. But think about it. We're not conditioned to leaving, right? We're not conditioned to leaving, right? One, I think you have to go back to slavery times where they were forced apart.
hmm.
Then you've got um, when the Industrial Revolution hit and women had to work because men were being drafted, so the men weren't in the household. Now you're now the men are coming back. The women are put out of their jobs and expected to go back to being Susie Homemaker, right? The husband is coming back. He's all fucked up from the war. So now he's inflicting trauma on this woman,
Mm.
but she's trying to be that rock, that solid foundation, his anchor to help him come back. And just like you said, you're running that narrative because we've never been taught that we deserve better, that it's okay to leave this situation, this person that's hurting us, that I don't have to be the one to fix you. It's never my job to fix you. People may hate Will and Jada Smith, but Will Smith says something, period, on period, when he said it's not my job to fix Jada and make her happy. Jada has to make herself happy.
Facts.
I'm a whole person without anybody else. I was whole before that.
as
People
it
think
should be.
because we get married, now it's a half and half. Well,
No,
where's my other half
no,
at?
the math
Where's
does
my
not
other half
math.
go? So
No,
I
ma'am.
lost half of me,
Have me just gone?
just gone, just boom, gone. No, I was always whole. So I have to save myself. I have to participate in my own rescue.
Ooh.
I got that from the Nicole Johnson, one of my friends. Um,
Yeah,
it was a question she asked people: how are you going to participate in your own rescue?
I like that.
Right? Eileen said, you hit it on the head. We're unfortunately conditioned to stay and deal with the mistreatment. We are, because we are told a good woman don't leave her man when he's down.
And if I could just, because there are relationships that span, there's man and woman, there's
Yes.
man, there's,
Mother's child.
and I'm talking about even in romantic relationships, but also, yeah, all any sort of relationship connection that there is, they blend over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So the relationship norms that we see between man and woman spill over into the relationships
definitely.
between man and man, woman and woman, all the other,
Yes.
and it also spills into mother and daughter, father and son, father and daughter, sister, but all any line you can connect from yourself to another one. There are rules, societal rules that dictate what we're supposed to do, and many of them are built to benefit somebody that's not you. Even
Mm,
when you went all the way back to how women were called to work only because the men were not available, it's such a demeaning thing, and people might go, oh, progress. That's not progress,
Somebody's
sis.
second choice.
Come on. We ain't got no choice. We ain't got no choice. It wasn't even a second choice. It was a we ain't got no.
yeah.
So fine,
Well, I
come
guess
on.
she'll do. The
He'll
fuck?
do because we can't do
We ain't
nothing
got
else.
nothing else. We ain't got nothing else.
And think about that. That's
Mhm.
literally the same vibe that is in all of these messages that we get. You don't supposed to leave somebody that's treating you badly because you can't get nothing else. You're not supposed
You
to
don't
leave a
deserve anything
relationship.
else. Why would you deserve better? Why would you deserve to be happy? Why would you deserve to be healed? You're supposed to live
Because
and accept this trauma that whomever is leaving with you, and you're supposed to deal with it because you're a strong Black woman and you just lock it down and keep moving forward. That's the bullshit
And don't
that
let the
we're
perpetuator be a mama or a daddy or a sibling or a family member or your own child. Then
hmm,
it's like you that's family. You supposed to uh
look at here,
there's a
man.
line
When you
in
got the
soul food.
boundaries, the
There's a line in
relationship
soul food.
matters
I
not.
know y'all know what I'm gonna say.
okay.
And I say this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever people are talking about how they have to stick close to family because this, even though the family is being hurt, in the movie Soul Food, Terry was like, the family fucked my husband. And I'm like,
I
right,
heard the family and the family fuck my husband.
that right
Oh yeah,
there.
we said that on the last episode.
We did.
We
Oh,
did.
did you?
We talked
See,
about that on the last episode because it's
because
real and it's
it's
honest.
real. Why am I being held to a standard to stick around to somewhere where I'm being hurt? And this is, the I is the us.
Mhm.
Why would we be expected to stick around in a place? Nobody would ever tell someone if they were in a fire, well, stick there, like don't move because it's
Right.
warm. Don't,
You
I
sound
mean,
crazy.
you always talk about you cold, now it's warm. Nobody would say to someone who's drowning, I mean, swim or just let go. You're
Kick your
gonna
feet. Kick your feet.
no, you're gonna try to get them out. But when someone is being physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually abused, because don't get me started on the church. Don't get me started. I need y'all to tell me now, stop talking.
Stop
Because,
talking, Dr. Akua.
okay, I will. I will. But it happens there too. All of these things that
She
we're
said,
talking
she said, I'm
about.
gonna stop. But
But I'm gonna keep talking though. I'm still talking
yeah, look, she
though.
was like, I ain't gonna talk about it, but it do happen there
But
too.
it do happen. And I'm
It
saying
does.
all that to say, for the person who stands up, Sharonda, like you were saying, not me, I got boundaries. For the person who is learning and actively engaging and participating in their rescue, this is what they're pushing against.
Yes.
And it doesn't feel
Oh,
normal. It doesn't feel comfortable. You're alone in some of those aspects. So that's why we kind of default back to just go along to get along.
I
yeah.
can't do that though. It's something happened
That,
to me when I turned 50. I'm like, uh, wait a minute. Like you said earlier about being somebody's doormat to include family members and stuff. I'm like, hold on for a second. And it's like I awakened to myself, like,
yeah.
hey, you know you don't deserve that, right? You know you don't have to stay here for that. And so I don't need anybody else's validation. My own is sufficing, and it is telling me to wake up and stop letting these people walk over you right now, or I know
Mm,
something.
Yeah. I mean,
And
there's always that external validation piece. That is a big part of some of the trauma, is because we are always looking for validation outside of ourselves, of our worth, of the fact that we deserve love, of the fact that we deserve to be happy. Somebody else can't tell me that I'm deserving of love and happiness. That comes from here. That comes from, now your parents can teach you how to
mm,
show someone how to love you by patterning that in their relationships, by speaking those words to you, because I wanted us to transition into this healing part, into how do we reclaim ourselves, right? How do I reclaim me after I've been broken, cut to the quick, they say, like when, cut to the quick.
mhm,
Right? Because healing is not just about time, it's about intention. And your
yeah.
body, your mind, and your spirit, they all need different tools to help them on their healing journey. And healing is a journey, not a destination. I
Yeah.
say that, you'll hear me say that all the time, right? Think about your body. Your body remembers the trauma,
For
it
sure.
lives in your nervous system.
For sure.
It's not just, oh, I'm sad. It's not just emotional. It is trapped in your body. You might start losing weight. You might just end up with stomach problems. Your hair might fall out. Your skin's all blotchy and shit now. You start getting all these weird creaks and pains, right?
that's
It's not just in your emotions. It is in your
Absolutely.
body. Anxiety, fatigue, chronic
you
tension.
know what? You onto
Right
something
here.
with that. You're onto something with that because I saw some video somewhere about people that have rheumatoid arthritis like me. It came from the me not speaking up for myself. It came
Absolutely.
from internalizing, keeping all of
Yeah.
that garbage on the inside. And so now, after 50 years, now I'm dealing with rheumatoid arthritis. And it is like you said, it's in the joints. If
Yes.
it could bend, it hurts, except for my eyelashes. Everything was hurting and attacking me all at the same damn time.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah.
that, Dr. Cool. I promise of goodness. It was.
No,
So
I know it's very true. It's literally the way I often describe it is we think it's just an emotion, and it is initially, but the longer we nurse it and ignore it and tuck it away, it has to go somewhere. We think, oh, that was last year, I'm over that. Okay, your mind is telling you that, but that gastroenteritis or have whatever that is, that's
And
that's
well,
telling you, you know
gastro,
that
right?
that thyroid condition,
Mm.
yeah,
that back part, that mysterious migraine. Everybody, panic attack,
everything triggers
everybody
everything.
has it
Yep.
differently. It's got to come out somehow.
And if you're not letting it out, it's
And
like a balloon. I tell people all the time, you keep locking all this trauma away. It's like a balloon. There's only so much space in your spirit, in your heart, and in your soul for this trauma to build up. Yet you
Hmm.
just keep stuffing, you just keep
Like
stuffing and
like
locking,
being a volcano.
stuffing and locking, stuffing and locking,
And
and
that's
then
why
it blows up.
it does. And
Mouth
that's
was
why when I
food.
made a reference earlier about going to the nail salon, I'm not shading nobody for going to the nail salon, but that couple of hours every Saturday is not
Enough.
sufficient to let that balloon pop.
No,
That's not sufficient.
to release it slowly, not because we don't want the balloon to pop. Now everything comes out, and you may end up in a mental institution. That's where suicide comes from, right?
Mm.
Because your emotions, your body, and it's going to attack your mind too. Because
Mm.
now you're going to start feeling, I ain't even worthy of love. I deserve this.
That
The
negative
world would
self-talk.
be a better place without me, right? All this internal dialogue that's going on in your head telling you that somehow this is your repayment for something, that you did something to warrant this pain. If I was a child
Oh,
and I was heartbroken because I was molested and or raped by people in my family, and your other people in the family know, they know that Uncle X is, you know, little different. He always want the little girls to come sit on his lap and da 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 da, and they keep it quiet and hush hush. So what you get taught is my pain doesn't matter. I am only here to be used by other people.
Mm.
I don't matter. I'm not even worthy of love, or this is what love looks like. So
mhm.
now I go and find other relationships where people are going to use, abuse, misuse me, right? Because that's what's up here and that's what's in here. That's what I've been taught. But you
Or
have to
live.
start rewiring your brain. You have to start letting
Because
go of that shit.
it it's lived. Very rarely is it verbatim taught. You know what I mean? Very rarely is it something, but we see it modeled in front of us. To the point you just made, we see something happen. We see folks know it happened, and they don't do nothing that because it happened or when it happened. And however often that it only could happen once, or it could be repeated. At the end of the day, you walk away with the message of I'm not worthy, or this is the best that I can get,
Yeah. Or
or there's
life ain't
some
safe.
punitive.
Yeah, or it's not safe.
Yeah, yeah,
Or I'm not safe. Nobody was there to protect me. So now I've got to be this super hardcore badass bitch, and not in the baddie city girl way,
right,
but in that now I'm very hard nosed. I am aggressive. I am mistrusting of everybody, right? I don't want to let anybody in because what's going to happen? They're going to hurt me,
right.
right? But we have to rewire our brain. And
Absolutely.
you can do it. It's not going to be an overnight thing, but
I ain't say shit.
it has to be a choice that you make to be consistent and to be a part of your own healing. You have to say, I'm going to be committed to my healing. I am going to participate in my own rescue, and I'm going to get the help that I need, because every wound, every trauma, new trauma is going to trigger something back to that root.
Yes,
And until you heal
yes.
the root, the branches are still going to stay poisoned.
Yeah. And it is a process. This is something that I work with people to do. This is something that I've lived myself.
Yes.
The first step of that is you have to get to self. You have to connect with self. Here's the thing. Notice all the stuff we've been talking about where all the messaging comes from. It comes from outside of us societally. It comes from outside of us within our social circle. It comes from outside of us from our family, our loved ones. But the whole time we're hearing all of these messages, there's I'm going to say it like this on purpose. There's never not that small voice on the inside of us telling us something is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We've learned how to quiet that voice, but the feeling is still there. That's why we feel disingenuous or fake when we move in a certain way, because that little voice inside is almost like a little glimmer of a light somewhere, like, this ain't us. I don't like this.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't me. We gotta switch this around. But we've learned to quiet it. So in order to heal, to start the healing process, because I believe that healing is always ing. I believe that it's always progressive. There's never a, all right, done, healed. Like, there's always, right? But
I
in order to start that, I got to learn how to tune in to that voice. I got to learn how to tune in and recognize it in against the other ones that I hear, that I've trained my ear. Haven't we trained our ear to hear those? So much so
mm-hmm.
that I could tell you what you're thinking before you even think it,
but I
because
can't
I've trained
but I
myself
can't even decipher my own emotions.
that part,
But
because
if
I've
you're not
learned to
willing to do the work
disconnect.
on yourself, you'll never know. And people shy away from getting to know themselves. And the only reason why I know this is because I did do the work on myself. And because I did it, that's when I discovered the boundaries.
Yes,
Like,
but
oh
I
my
mean,
goodness.
yeah, but people are scared because it is a dark and it is a scary space. So when they say self-care, that's why they want to pick the fun things, right? The mani pedis, going to the spa. Those are fun things to do. I'm not saying that there's not an aspect of wellness and self-care within those things, but self-care sometimes is ugly. Self-care sometimes is painful. Sometimes you got to sit in that mess and you have to process through it. You have to get to the root of the problem. If you're not willing to get to the root, like I said, all the branches are going to continue to be poisoned because
Yeah,
I have, and I, this is why I tell people in my practice, I have them first start out by writing a love letter to themselves because that usually brings out a lot of issues because a lot of people, one woman in particular was like, I can't write it because I don't love the version of myself that I am.
You got to start somewhere, though.
And then but she took that to therapy, and this is what I want people to understand. You can have a wellness coach and a therapist. In my mind, I think you should, because we serve different purposes, right? We have different purposes. And then she came back and she was like, I was finally able to write that letter,
Wow.
right? And I want you to write a letter, and you might start by writing a letter to 10-year-old you, whatever age that little hurt girl started to disappear, and tell her that she is loved, that she is safe,
Yes,
she is
yes.
enough. And it's not going to work the first time. Some of these exercises are just designed for you to start recognizing the hurt that comes out because, like you said, it's been so pushed down, locked away that we don't even recognize it anymore.
yeah. I would literally say that whatever the exercise is, it's designed for us to start.
Yes.
That's the sentence, to start, because you may not get to getting to the root until you several months in.
That's it.
You might, your first jump into the self-care pool may be discovering self. It might be realizing you're not good for me. I been should have got this relationship ended. Like, and I said that sentence like that on purpose. Like, I, that might be your, wherever you start.
That's it.
It's got to start, and connecting with self will lead to the boundaries that Sharonda you're talking about. It'll lead to loving
Absolutely.
myself, like you're talking about, Leanne. It'll lead to ending different harmful relationships, discovering what do I want. That little short, tiny little sentence in itself sounds so simple, but for somebody who hasn't started,
It's
what? I know what
hard
I want.
because they tend a lot of times we tend to know what people want us to want. They want
Mm,
for us, not what we want. We live in
that
everybody else's expectations, everybody else's dreams, wants, and desires, and not living ours because, again, we've not done the work. So I agree with you. You have to start somewhere, right? I'm a big fan of affirmations. And you may not believe the affirmations when you start
Right.
using them. But again, the key word is start something, right? We're not saying go home today and break up with and stop being friends with them because we all know the cold turkey typically don't work. But the first start might be realizing that this person might not be the right person for you and noticing how they talk to you, how they treat you, how they
Being
noticing
honest
patterns.
about it.
So now that I know and I can see it, once I can see it, I can fix it.
mm,
And like I said, it may be months before you actually leave, but you're now noticing and you can start to move differently to help protect yourself and to put the smallest of boundaries in place. Because the first boundary is not with somebody else, it's with self.
yes, that part.
When you connect with self and you start to know you, your first boundaries always are going to be with me because I have to know what I will and will not accept. I have to know who I am, what I want, and that journey can take a while,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Get into your spirituality, right? And spirituality does not always mean church,
That's right.
Say it again for the people in the back.
you know, because it doesn't. People think, oh, and I'm not saying I don't believe in God. I
Right.
definitely do believe in God, but I also know that I put my faith in God, not in man, because there's been a whole bunch of quote unquote men of God who were not
Mm,
God like. So I put my trust in God, and my
hmm.
spirituality will lead me where I feel like it needs to. I don't necessarily have to go to church for that word, right? God is speaking to us all the time, but are we discerning enough to hear it?
I think when we've taught ourselves to quiet our voice, we've also taught ourselves to quiet that voice that we call
Yes,
God, or that voice, whatever
Mm,
we've taught
whatever you
ourselves.
call it.
Yeah, and what we've learned, because this was a lesson for me because of what I dealt with in the church. Because it was always interesting to me how God always somehow sounded just like pastor.
mm,
Same shortcomings and self-loathing and all that stuff that the pastors had. God seemed to have the same ones. So I had to learn how to disconnect from even that because I would hear some of the same judgmental things about
Mhm.
stuff, and I'm like, that don't match what I'm reading here. It matched what I heard from this person. So I had to be able to discern the difference. That is
girl,
why starting is the very first thing. Just start.
that part.
Yes.
So when I left the church, it was because the pastor had a problem with me talking to God. I don't have to go through you to talk to him. That's why it's important for you to have a personal relationship with him. Because if you allow yourself to think that this man-made religion thing is going to get you into the hereafter, you couldn't be further from the mark. That's why when you have what the word you just said, discernment, that's
Mhm.
coming directly from him, and you know it's not being filtered through a man. And
Mm,
so we
Yeah.
left the army because we were tired of the man having way too much to say about the white space on our calendar. And so now that we've been gone much longer than we were ever in, it's been 20 years since we got out. Now we have the control. Now our faith is even stronger because we got out We took away all of the impediments of anybody telling us that, oh no, you you talk to God? Are we in church? Hello, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? And what do I need you for if you think that you're the only way that I can go talk to my daddy? He loves me just like he loves you. So
Yeah.
beware.
And if you don't believe in
Beware.
God, for you it might be the ancestors. For you it might be other things.
A
What we're
spiritual
saying is
higher being.
there is a spirituality to it that can
Mhm.
help in your healing. That's
Yeah.
all we're saying. Find out what works for you, because what works for Sharonda may not work for Leanne, right? So you have to find what works for you. And to me, when I think about heartbreak and this breakdown, there's a breakthrough after the breakdown.
Absolutely.
Try to look at all of these painful experiences as an opportunity to reinvent yourself, to come out the other side of that and turn
Mhm.
that pain into purpose,
Mhm.
right? Because I feel like when I choose to start loving myself, to implement this love that is always inside of us, that sometimes we tuck it away, we tell it to quiet down.
Yeah.
But when we do that, that's where the healing is, because now we've decided to love ourselves more than we loved them. Because generally, we're loving everybody else more than we're loving ourselves, right? Self love is a daily practice. It is not a one and done. It is not a one and done. It is not a one and done.
Well
There's
said.
consistency and intentionality that has to go with it, right?
Yeah,
You
indeed.
don't attract what you want, you attract what you believe you deserve. So if you've not done the work and you don't think you deserve better, you're going to keep getting same lesson,
Same thing.
different face until you get the lesson right. Same lesson, different face.
Hmm.
Because you're attracting what you think you deserve. Because you have not even started your healing journey. You're just moving around, moving from hurt to hurt
Wow.
to hurt to hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you wonder why you always get in these bad relationships, or your relationship with your parents isn't getting any better, or because you're not even consistent with yourself, and you're not participating in your own rescue. You're waiting for somebody else to come and fix it for you. We don't have the luxury of that. Nobody is coming to save you.
You
And
already have
even the
everything
one
you
that
need.
does say that they're coming can't, because you know you better than anybody else knows you.
That's right.
And you know what you need, you know what you want, you know what's right for you, you know what don't feel right for you. So even if somebody comes to you with good intentions, they can't give you everything that you need because they don't know it, and there's no way for you to communicate it
Yes.
like fully. There's just no way. You ever ask somebody for even a example of going and ordering some food, and you say, I want it done well done, for those who eat meat, and it come back and it's medium, or it's even something like that. You said what you wanted and they gave you what they thought they heard.
Mhm.
Hmm.
When we get into that space where we're participating in our own rescue, we can't look out. It literally has to be that mirror where
Yes.
we're looking in.
Yes. You have to be intentional and committed to your healing journey.
Gotta
And
be.
it is a journey. There's no end. It is a journey, because there's always something that can trigger you right back to that pain.
Hmm.
The
Absolutely.
goal is, because I know you're thinking, oh, well, then why the hell do we even try to heal? Because even if you get triggered back, you don't stay down for the same
Right.
amounts of time. And you know how to now cope and process your feelings and realize that what happened does not mean that you're bad, that you're unworthy of love. It doesn't mean that you have to stay broken.
Yeah.
It means that I'm hurt, I can sit and process this hurt and work through it now in a healthy way, not in a destructive and harmful way to you and somebody else.
And once you get into that and you start, and this is me telling my testimony again, as I started this for a while, it, like you said, it's taking time, right? Because there are still things to be healed from. But certain things that would have triggered me before, if it happens again, it's not this long drawn out process for me to cope and to process. No, because I've been in this work, I've got these tools together, and sometimes something will come and it'll knock me off of my feet. And even those things, I'm going to allow myself to feel the feelings. I'm going to allow myself to experience the experience, but it is a shorter process because I now have tools. I now have tools
That's
to
right.
help me in that process and through that process. So it doesn't hurt as much for as long,
Yeah,
you know, as
that's
deeply.
it. And because heartbreak's gonna come. Don't get you a coach or a therapist who ain't never been through nothing. They can't help you. All they can do is tell you what a textbook said. That's all they can tell you. I would never want somebody who's never look. I need a financial person who was broke at one point, who knows what it's
Yes.
like to have to decide between you eating and your children eating,
Come on.
between
Come
these
on.
lights being on, or I ain't got gas to get to work so that I can continue to keep
To
these
keep the
lights
light.
on.
Come on.
That knows what it's like to go to a food bank to get food because you ain't got enough money
Come on.
to feed yourself and your kids. To
Yeah.
have to ask your neighbors for food and put your pride to the side.
Yes, indeed.
If you've never been through something, you can't work with me. I've been through heartbreak myself, even just this past year. But when I realized that this is not who I wanted to be and that's not where I wanted to stay, because yes, we're going to go through that first phase. That is, we're going to be hurt. It's
Yeah,
okay to be hurt. It's okay
absolutely.
to be broken. It is not okay to stay broken.
That's
It is
right.
not okay to. I love
That
that.
needs to be on a shirt.
It
I'm gonna
really,
put
Yeah.
that
it
on
really
a shirt.
does. And if I could just only add a piece of this, the way that we feel, the way that we feel is a normal reaction to an uncomfortable circumstance. So
Yeah,
when you have those deep feelings, you have that pain, that makes sense because something painful just happened.
that's right.
And I like what you said though, Leanne. It's okay to feel that. And it's okay. Like I set a limit because what I knew was I got stuff to do. Now, mind you, this is me setting the limit during the process. Like I already have the tools. I know how to, support myself in these moments. But because I've been in the process, when a heartbreak happened for me, I literally called a friend and I was like, listen, I'm finna take this weekend and I'm finna do my thing. I'm finna cry. I'm finna yell, scream, holler, cuss, whatever, in my own little corner, in my own little chair. I stayed, I didn't go out in the public and do nothing. I said, but I need you to call me on Sunday afternoon to check in on me because that is it. I'm not going to say my emotions stopped that weekend, but my intense, raw, as Leanne just said, staying in that place, I gave myself that weekend to do the fool,
Hmm.
stay safe, stayed in my house. And I told myself, starting Monday, I'm going to move forward into whatever it was that I needed to do. And moments came after that where I wanted to cry, but because I set the stage for myself to tell myself, you know what, this is normal, it's all good. Because I did that, when those moments hit again in the after that initial thing, I would have my moment to have my feels, good 5 minutes, good 10 minutes, whatever it took, and then I was on to the thing. I'm not trying to stay there. So
Yes.
it's not saying that when you enter into this process, it's going to be puff the magic dragon, poop out, gone. No, but you're going to develop tools and you're going to develop this wisdom and this knowledge of what you need, and then you're going to be able to give it to yourself. And as you move forward, it becomes healing. It becomes progress, and that pain starts to subside until it's no more.
Yes, and I love that because If you are not going to participate, because I'm gonna keep saying it because
I like
somebody
it.
don't hear it today. If you are not going to participate in your own rescue, you don't have nobody else to blame.
That part.
At some point, you have to stop blaming the person who broke you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to stop blaming them. You have to stop being the victim.
Everybody got a story.
Every you
Get over.
can't be at some point you gotta turn into your own hero. There has to be a villain to be a hero. The hero, my mentor said in every story, nobody cares about the hero outside of the villain.
Hmm.
Think about it.
Wow. Wait a minute.
Think about it now.
Yeah.
Think about it. If there was never a villain, you wouldn't care about the hero.
Hmm.
There has to be a villain.
Everybody got a role to play, huh?
There has to be a villain to be a hero.
That's crazy. Okay, that makes me think of this cartoon. Y'all don't judge me. I watch them. Megamind years ago when
Yes,
Megamind,
yes.
you remember that one? When he got rid of the bad guy, he was like, "Well, I'm the like," and being the hero was boring because there was no bad guy, there was no
Hmm.
antagonist.
There
And
has to be, yes. There's a
Protagonist,
wow,
protagonist,
antagonist.
there's a
Absolutely.
protagonist, and there has to be an antagonist. Think about it, right? So you have to become the hero in your story. You can't always be the victim. And sometimes, because we know Leanne is a little petty,
No,
maybe a lot of bit petty,
Leanne is a lot petty. She just downplaying.
that sometimes the victim might become the villain too.
How about that?
There are times,
it
Hmm.
happened.
okay? There are times when the victim must become the villain. There are times.
Yeah. Because people gonna make you the villain. That's why they get to be the clown in my story. If I got to be the villain in yours, you gonna stay the clown in my story.
Well, sometimes you have to be the villain to get away.
Well, okay, I'll be that
Sometimes you
all
have
day.
to be
I,
the
I
villain
did
to
get
get away.
away.
I don't mean the villain in like them trying to make you look as the villain. I mean you actually having to turn into the villain as a part of your healing journey. Everything on your healing journey ain't always going to be happy. It ain't always going to be positive. It ain't always going to be fun. Some of the shit's going to hurt. Some of the
Hmm.
shit's going to be scary. Some of it's going to be ugly. And yes, sometimes you do. Look, don't make me go back to that book. Don't make me go back to that book.
With the hemorrhoids. I
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
I think I hear what I hear what you're
mhm.
saying. Like in somebody's going to label you as the villain because you
Hmm.
started this healing journey, and that part is going to be uncomfortable because all you trying to do is get well, and
Hmm.
somebody's like, well, she don't never do this no more, she don't never come around no more, she don't never da 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 no more, and you become the villain even though all you trying to do is heal, all you trying to do is be okay and be well.
That's kind
Okay.
of what I
Let's,
mean.
let's think about
That's
That's
this as a
that's
magic
kind of
wand.
wait, hold on. That's kind of what I mean,
okay.
but kind of not.
Okay.
Again, I said what I said, and the people gonna hear me. Sometimes you have to become the villain to get out of the victim,
Hmm.
to get away from being the victim. Now, I'm not saying, okay, think about it. People who've been abused, who have killed their husbands, wives, whatever, after
Oh,
years of
okay.
abuse, you had to become the villain in order to get out of that situation. It doesn't mean that you're the villain, you're not the willing villain.
Mm.
It has been forced upon you.
Yes,
I'm
that's
not saying you choosing to go out and murk people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying fight or flight. At some point,
Yeah,
at
because
some point, you have to stand up and you might
that
have to
part.
put on that villain mask. Look, when they had Superman, they had Roboto Superman who was bad,
Hmm.
alternate reality,
Yep. Bizarro.
Bizarro, right? Superman wasn't really about killing people, but he had to kill people in
see,
instances.
I'm a big fan of reframing. So I hear what you're saying, and I am with the principle of what you're saying. I get it and agree. I don't think if I did back to you what you did to me just so I could be safe, that's called surviving. That's called
It
me
is
fighting back.
surviving.
I'm not gonna call me a villain, but I know I
I
hear
mean,
what
but the villain is
I get what you're
right. It's
saying.
not always the bad. It's not always a bad thing. People take a term and then they make it a negative. People who are willing villains, yes, there's bad there. But has there ever been a villain in a story in a movie that you rooted for the villain? There has been.
Big, big.
There has been for me. Where
You know, and I could like we don't disagree. I'm a fan of reframing.
yeah,
So even if we were to name
people
it,
you gotta put it in your mind. If
yeah,
if it resonates with you, you put it. Everybody reframes,
yeah,
right? Everybody reframes. That's just how I see it. I'm okay with being the villain in order to get away from being the victim. Now people
Mm,
can take it how they want,
yeah,
because
yeah,
this heartbreak will not be the death of me.
hmm.
This will not be my end. This is my rebirth. And a part of that, when a phoenix arises,
Yep.
okay,
Yep.
it
Yep.
has to go through a transition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Go on, touch it when it's blazed up. Maybe it's a little bit on the villain, but it turns into this beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
So on your hero journey, there may be a little detour to villain land. I don't know. And it's not for everybody.
with a villain
It's
like
not for everybody. I'm not saying everybody has to go through the same process. People heal differently, but and like you said, it might just be survival. People do things when they're in survival mode that they would not normally do. That's why it's called survival mode. I am trying to make sure that I make it to the next day, the next movement, the next thing. So I may have to do some things that are outside of my normal character. Let's frame it that way. Some people don't like villain. I'm gonna still continue to use villain, but for those that don't like the
yeah,
concept of villain, sometimes you have to do things that may be outside of your character when you're in survival mode. That's why when you move from survival mode to thriving, people, places, and things got to fall off because they were a part of your survival story. They are not a part of your thriving story.
Oh, wait.
And you got to leave them there because
Mm-hmm.
you can't
Everybody
take it
can't
with
go.
you. You can't take them you
Everybody
with
can't
you.
go.
yeah,
And that's why it feels so uncomfortable to do the survival things once you've moved towards thriving, because that's not your story
it's
anymore.
not.
That is
It's
your
not.
rebirth. And now you, the phoenix, arising from the ashes, and you're a glorious new thing. And now you know how to deal with the hurt. So Eileen said you may become the villain because you hurt someone's feelings. Yes, yes,
Hmm.
yes, Eileen.
Oh, Eileen, my gosh.
I mean, but because when you are healing, and we got to go because it's 11:18, but when you are healing, right, they're going to be mad.
Yes,
Oh,
You're going to
stay
lose
that way
friends.
too.
You're going to lose friends. You're going to lose family,
yes,
friends and family, because they do not have the same access to you and they still have their feelings of entitlement. We talked about it in the first segment. And they're going to be big mad.
yeah,
Oh,
Ooh,
now all of a sudden you think you better than us. You think you this. No, you think I'm better than you.
that
there it
part.
is.
I am moving to another level. You may not be vibrating where I'm at, and
Yeah,
that's okay for you, but it ain't okay for me
That
to
part.
keep you around,
That
because
part.
my new boundary says
Mm,
bullshit to the left.
mm.
My
This right
boundaries
here.
get a little
to the
spicy.
point where I'm not even gonna respond to you. That's
Mm,
how high I'm
Do you
vibrating.
that
Like
see
you
what
part.
I'm
are, you are
saying? And then they're gonna be even more mad.
oh, for
Oh,
sure.
look at her.
Welcome, Mark Anthony Stevens Felder. You got a lot of names. I love it. This is amazing. So happy I stumbled on you, Queens. Well, you know what? You stumbled in the right place. We're here every Monday and every Thursday from 10 supposedly to 11 a.m. Eastern, but it is now 11:19. And see, I think with Dr. Akua, we did this the last time. We just been talking and talking, and y'all see the conversation is great over here.
I
The
just got one
conversation
magic
is
trick
great over
though.
here. Hmm?
I got one magic trick.
We
This
love a
fan,
magic trick.
this fan is not only a fan, but it's also a magic wand where
Ooh.
I poof turn you into another opportunity for me to get some more peace because you are going to the left right now. You remember that old spiritual song, sweep around your front door.
Williams
You
brothers, I
have
think.
to. Yes, God did bring you to us. And yes, they do hate
Yes,
when you are happier. A healed
absolutely.
person, a healed person is a narcissist's worst nightmare because
Oh
they
my
can
my
no
my.
longer think about it because they can no longer control your emotions through their words and their actions because that's
Mm.
what they do. They
Yeah.
play on your
Mhm.
emotions and make you feel like you did something wrong, like you are the one with the issue and the problems,
Woo.
right? That's what it is. But
Y'all ain't talk about my life again.
once you have moved on and moved past that, look,
Yeah.
I went to a party. This was for New Year's, and I'm talking about recent pain for me. Most people who know me know will know what I'm talking about. And I told one of my friends because this person we run in the same circles, so it's you're gonna see him. I'm gonna see him. He gonna see me.
Mhm.
And I told one of my other friends, if I start to get overly emotional, come and pull me to the side
I like y'all
because
felt.
I'm not 100% sure how this is gonna go because the last couple of times it don't turn out so well
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
because I'm gonna say something. But she was like, we were just talking about it this weekend. She was like, you know what? I was so proud of you. She said because you told me, and she said you didn't need it.
Mm.
Mm.
When you're
You
healing,
rescued yourself.
you get to that part. Yes, I was a part of my own rescue because I did the work
Mm-hmm.
to fix me. I
Yup.
wasn't worried about them anymore. It became the Leanne show. And I was only focused on fixing and repairing me. And that means I have to realize that part of our problem was my fault too.
Mm.
I got to stand up and stand on business, right? And I have to not continue to do the things that got me there in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way we can do that without judging ourselves, without guilting ourselves, without criticizing ourselves, is if we're in that place, that self care turned in place. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not able to acknowledge honestly, you know what? Because even for me in my story, if I inside I was saying you need Akua, you need to like part ways. I got to take responsibility for the fact that I didn't respond to that. And the only way I can do that without adding more guilt and shame to myself is to be in this place where I'm in this healed space or healing
Oh, and
space.
Mark Anthony is blowing you up. Look at these comments. I mean, he is going toe to
Oh,
toe.
baby, Mark said this, and he didn't even know. I just want to read. Go ahead, Doctor Akua, and then because I want to read some of the things. But you were making a statement.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I just it's essential to have, you know, that accountability, that personal responsibility, but it doesn't have to come with the guilt and the shame because we get enough of that from around us. So the
That's
way that
right.
we can separate ourselves from that is to be in that place where I'm connecting with self. I'm honest enough to say, you know what, I made a decision that, you know, led to this or that invited this or that whatever.
Yes.
And I also made the decision to move on. So I can give myself credit for both of those and then work towards that process of healing.
Oh, okay. This is Sarah.
Mm,
Her name is Sarah. She on her brother's page because her
gotcha.
page got hacked. Well,
uh,
thank you for being here with us, Sarah. You are
absolutely,
welcome
Sarah.
to come back anytime because yes, a healed person cannot continue to be around a broken person
Absolutely,
because
that part.
it's an unhealthy dynamic and you will naturally move on. Yes, we
Mm,
don't hold ourselves accountable enough. We want to put the blame on everybody else and not take that. What did Dr. Akua say? Look in that mirror, baby.
Mm.
Because first, you got to be real and honest with you.
Yeah,
You have to be real and honest with you. Your healing doesn't start. And that's when she said connecting to self. You can't lie to self.
that
You
part.
cannot continue to lie to yourself and think you're going to heal. I knew that I caused some of what was happening, but I also knew that he caused some of what was happening. And we're in a space now where we can actually talk, right? Where we can actually talk and I can see him with his people and it don't affect me because I did the work on me. I stopped letting it be about him a long time ago. So when I connected to me and said, first, let's look at what you're doing wrong and give you a little grace for these bad decisions you made. Give yourself grace. We all make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And then heal. Do the work to heal. Maybe you need to step away from these people who hurt you. You
Yes.
cannot, because let me say this, and then we got to do our final thing because I got a meeting at 11:30. You cannot heal in the place that broke you.
That part.
Let me say that again. You cannot heal in the place that broke you. At some point, you need a separation from the people, places, and things that hurt you so that you can start that healing journey. Because if you're still in the same place and it's the same message, the same everything, eventually you can get some progress in your healing.
Mm.
But at some point, when you are strong enough, maybe you don't even feel you're strong enough, but you're ready to jump. You
Mm.
have to make a separation. But we want you to start today. We want you to start and come on down to the altar. I almost felt like a pastor. Come on down to
The
the
doors
altar.
of the church are open again.
But they gotta start.
You gotta start.
Look, so you are welcome, Sarah.
Yes, Sarah.
You are welcome because we're gonna give you. We have a knack for giving people what they need in the moment that they need it. That's why the Most High brought us here in this show and brought us together so that we can be here to help and serve you. Because I don't want somebody having to get to 50 to learn the lessons that we learn.
Absolutely, that part.
We're here so that you ain't gotta go through and bump your head against that wall the same way we did. When you have people who are showing you the path, maybe you should take my hand
Mm.
and come start your journey. I can't force you. And if you struggle with me, I'm going to leave you back there because
Mm.
if you're not ready, I can't force you.
Yeah.
So as we go, Dr. Akua, do you have any final words and let the people know how they can talk to you, connect with you, and work with you?
Yes, 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 yes. The my socials, I'm at C Akua Rose on Facebook, Instagram, and if you still have TikTok, I'm on there as well. My link tree is listed there because my website is under construction, so that's the best way. I would love to share that the topic that we're talking about. I have two events coming up: a
Yes.
self-care masterclass that is happening. Yes, that is happening on this month, February 25th,
Okay.
7 p.m. Eastern, and then I have a 12-week program. Everything that we're talking about, it's like, okay, how? I'm that person. You can't give me a concept and then walk away. I need somebody to break it down for me.
That's it.
And that's exactly what I've done in the 12-week program. That starts in March. All that is in that link tree. This, I think I would combine all of that with my final words. At the end of the day, you are the expert on yourself. And when we enter into certain circumstances that hurt us, we have a choice. The title of this episode is Heartbreak Won't Break You. The thing about that is that you are the one who gets to choose whether
Yeah.
it does or doesn't, because you are the one who has the power, you have the opportunity, and you have that personal influence to be able to allow yourself to start healing yourself.
Yes. Look, if y'all ain't listening, I don't know what
I'm
else
so,
we can do for you.
I can't
I
even
don't know
feel
what else.
sorry for you if you
I
ain't listening.
can't. I can't because we giving you the roadmap. We're giving you the nuggets. See, Sarah's 46. Ain't no more bumping her head for her. Yes.
All right, then.
We love it. We love it. So, Sharonda, final words.
Choose yourself. Stop waiting on somebody to choose you and do it yourself. Stop not choosing yourself. When you find yourself in these toxic situations and stuff, if you stay in it because you think you're not strong enough to remove yourself from the company of the people that are hurting you, you're part of your own problem. That's why you got to start the work on yourself.
That's right. And look, heartbreak won't break you unless you let it. Today, hopefully, this is your start.
Yes.
This is your start. Hopefully, it got in your mind that, wow, these ladies might be on to something. They might just know what they talking about. They might have been through a thing or two in their life, and maybe Leanne or Dr. Akua or both can help me.
Mm-hmm.
You've
Come on
taken
back.
that first step towards
Mm-hmm.
healing, towards growing, and towards loving yourself like never before. This is your moment for you to start reclaiming your joy, reclaiming your peace, and also reclaiming your power. I want you to remember your healing is non-negotiable, and
Right.
you have to keep choosing you every single time. Today is your start. Let the let it continue. Do not let today be the start and the end.
Mm.
And as always, we want you to wake up happy, sis. We will see you Thursday. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Wake Up Happy Sis Show. Join us live every Monday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern for more joy, healing, and sisterhood. Until next time, keep thriving unapologetically, sis.